New Jersey's most expensive house has a shocking history riddled with tragedy, but before we see inside, let's rewind the clock so we can better understand what happened. Hi everyone, Ken here. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. Born in 1856 in Sacramento, California, George Crocker was no stranger to wealth. The son of railway magnate Charles Crocker, George inherited the modern-day equivalent of nearly $200 million, but it came with a catch. George's early life was marked by recklessness as he abused substances. In order for him to not go homeless, he had to prove to his father's executors that he could remain sober and hold down a job. After years of struggling, hitting rock bottom, he was finally ready to turn his life around. He moved to New York and worked his way up in his deceased father's companies. When he reached 5 years of sobriety, he took on a controlling interest in the family business, and the executors of Charles' estate released his inheritance to him. At this point, he could have relapsed, but he met the love of his life who kept him on the straight and narrow. He and his wife Emma built a palatial limestone mansion in Manhattan to call home, but they were snubbed from high society. I'll provide a link to a video about that mansion at the end of this one, but for now let's get back to the story. They began searching for the perfect place to build a country estate to escape the hustle and bustle of the big city and just enjoy their lives together. In 1901, George and Emma headed down to New Jersey to view a property that had just been put up for sale. The 1,100-acre Darling estate boasted rolling hills, forests, pastures, and meadows. This was exactly the type of property the couple was looking for. They moved into the Exton Darling house and hired architect James Bright to plan out an estate which would become known as Darlington. Darlington was modeled after Bramshill House in the UK, with several portions of the facade being directly copied. Just as the house was being built, Emma sadly lost her battle with cancer in 1903. 4 long years later, in 1907, the couple's dream house was finally completed, but the 45,000 square foot mansion would be home to only George. The towering brick and limestone mansion gained international attention as the most complete Jacobean house to be built in the New World. It was surrounded by gardens and functioning farms, with dozens of outbuildings to house the 40 full-time staff who ran the estate. The interior required entire teams of artists working full-time for 4 years to complete it. The Great Hall had been carved from English oak and extensively ornamented. To one end, we see silver chandeliers illuminating the Kenstone walls below a dazzling plastered oak ceiling. To the other end, an Aeolian organ reaches nearly 30 feet towards the ceiling, as we can imagine live music bellowing throughout the house. Continuing on, we arrive in the library, and while we might be drawn to the Kenstone fireplace with intricate relief work or the collection of Chinese porcelains, I'll instead call your attention to the ceiling, which was hand-painted by famous artist James Wolfin. The dining room became a poetic memorial to George's Californian roots, with redwood cladding each surface and composing the fluted Corinthian columns. The dining set had been crafted from English walnut and the chairs upholstered with antique European tapestries from his dad's house, and to top it all off, a portrait of his father was hung above the black marble fireplace. Though for more casual meals, George would enter the breakfast room through the triangular screen set in the corner. Here he displayed his most valuable tapestries below a plaster ceiling, which was described as one of the most complex plaster ceilings in any American home. Unfortunately, George too lost his battle with cancer after living in Darlington for just 2 short years. The estate was then purchased by Emerson McMillan, a wealthy banker who was able to enjoy Darlington until his own passing in 1922. At that point, it was purchased by the Catholic Church for use as the Immaculate Conception Seminary, which renovated the house to fit its needs. The lush gardens and greenhouses were torn down to make way for dorms, and eventually a separate chapel was built right next to the mansion. The estate traded hands several times after the Catholic Church offloaded the property in 1984. Though as recently as 2021, Darlington, now reduced to about 12 acres, was purchased for $26 million to be used as a private residence. Last year, in 2023, the mansion was seized by the federal government following the indictment of its most recent owner. There is more information available online, and for legal reasons, I won't get into the nitty-gritty of what happened, but the question remains, now that Darlington is in the hands of the government, what will happen to it? Will it be converted for use as offices, torn down, or placed back on the market as New Jersey's most expensive residence? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.